Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome once again to the Southern Wing here at the Stinkbug Works. Today, I have three dead cats right here on the workbench. Three dead cats. There's a song in there somewhere. Anyway, part of the reason I'm talking about twin cats today is I spoke to Big B. Big B's doing fine. He's just spending time with his family. And folks, let me tell you something. The boats, they're all cool and yada yada, but spending time with your family, so that's important. So we'll be hearing from Big B soon enough, because his twin cat, the one that seemed like it had some crappy propellers on it, I know for a fact he has new propellers and he's going to be doing test runs soon, and I'm expecting quite a lot from it. Anyway, so one of my viewers, who for the sake of this discussion, I'll just call him Jim, because in fact his name is Jim, wants me to add a twin cat to the catalog. Now, I'm 100% in favor of that. Right off the top. But I did a 16-inch cat design a while back, and there were two things I didn't like about it. One was the shape of the bow. Somehow, the shape of the bow cast this perfect laminar wave, which took tons and tons of energy to create. And so, in a turn, it was just like dropping an anchor. So, I didn't like that. And because, unlike these scale model, you see how the thing pops out here to, sort of pretend there's an imaginary turbine engine in there, or a V12 or something. So without that, there wasn't a lot of room to get a motor in. Now, this boat, because the hatch is so wide, it allows room to get in here. In a wood-built boat, generally you'll have a dividing line right down a stringer here. So there'll be a wall right here that makes it hard to get a motor in. And going through this, in the kit I built, there just wasn't room to get a motor in. So I sort of abandoned that design. Now, all three of these boats handle surprisingly well. None of them have shown that Velez trick. You know how the Velez likes to just do a snap roll at low speed? All three of these exhibit good low speed and high speed handling. Now, you can't go full rudder in a corner, but, within reason. And I shortened the rudder on this guy, so we'll see how it works next time around. So, some of my thinking of how to build a catamaran, and I'm looking at this, and the step designs look really cool, and with all the spray rails and all that, they look really cool. But at the small scales we operate, I'm not 100% certain that there's a whole lot of improvement by aerating this little back step here. It's such a short distance. you know. So it's this much versus this much. I don't think it's worth it. So to that end, now let's look at the couple of different design differences. You see, this one has the ride pad going all the way up to the tip. This one has the ride pad ending here. This one has the ride pad going all the way up to the tip. This one has a spray rail. This one has a step and a spray rail, a step here as well. This one, no step and no spray rail, but a good sharp break here. So, and they, like I said, they all handle impeccably. So what I'm thinking, and Jim, this is for you, follow me. If you look at the shape of the hull, it actually has less dead rise than these, but more. I could do this one of two ways. I could build a plywood box along this ride surface and then add a second plywood box to the outside of it here. Or I could build it as one plywood box with a lip here, and what you would have to do is glue one surface on and then sand it to a bevel, and then glue another surface on and sand it to a bevel. So there's a lot of futzing around with that. So, but this design, it handles really well. It's simple. It's straight lines, straight lines, straight lines, straight lines, simple curve, simple curve. I may do something like this. Now, how big? How big? You know, I like to keep them small just because my pond is small, and the smaller they are, the cheaper they are. The cost of a boat is a cube factor of its length. So if it goes up, if it doubles in length, it goes up 8 times in cost, 16 times in cost. A cube factor. So that's just the way it works. So keeping them small and running these little motors. Now these little motors didn't cut it, but this size motor and up, and those little outrunners. I may go back and visit those little green 4,000 RPM outrunners. Brandon has that outrunner. He put in a skedaddle. I'm curious to see how that little skedaddle works. It's a big boat for that motor, and it's a submerged prop. So keep your props small. Anyway, that's some of the thinking on that. So there will be a cat coming up, but first, I think I'm going to do something else. What? Everybody needs a good rescue boat. And you remember the other day I told you about this thing for $32. Well, a 3mm carbon fiber rod will fit right through here, just like that. You know, it just fits in there and it's locked in. And a 3mm rod will just fit in there and locked in. I have a whole bunch of this EPP foam, and this stuff cuts on a bandsaw to where you can get this stuff really thin if you want. So I can get a load of this. Now, what do you think? Carbon fiber rods, some EPP foam, a little EPP foam cross piece glued with expanding polyurethane glue. A little EPP foam thing coming out here, a bigger one here, and then remember Fred? It had that thing that looked like a farm implement. It looked like something you would harvest, crops with. I could make those blades out of 16th plywood. Yeah, you treat them with epoxy and there you go. And I could make a little one of those that all you do is put carbon fiber rods in, put a little piece of fuel tubing over it so the EPP arm doesn't move out of the way, and then it holds the whole pusher assembly. What do you guys think of that as a kit? Have your own little tiny rescue boat that when you flip something, you throw this out there and it's ready to go. Oh, and here's one other thing I would do to this little boat. It comes with this 600 milliamp battery, and it'll run a long time on this 600 milliamp battery. And this 600 milliamp battery attaches up here in the upper hold, and it actually has room for another 600 milliamp battery. But behold, this is a 1200 milliamp battery. And one of the first things you do when you get this is you have to take the hull and the deck apart and get in there and put grease on the dog bones. Otherwise, this thing will just be loud and it'll wear out real fast. So just slather some grease on there. And while you're in there, you take this 1200 milliamp battery, twice the size of that thing, and you put it down low between the motors. That way it'll give it a little more, a little more stability. This is actually above the water line. This will be below the water line. Better place for your weight. So, what do you think, boys and girls? Shall I work on a design for that? It shouldn't take long to work something up. And I can send out kits with EPP and carbon fiber rods and little laser cut teeth for the farm implement. What do you think? That'd be pretty cool, huh? And in fact, this will be kind of like a float. It'll go up and I'll have a shaft going through there, and that's where those things will be. Piece of cake. Piece o' cake. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.